So, hi, Ava Motherwell. Thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed for Designers Workshop. I know all the students will be really excited to hear your story because you've been at this a really long time. All the folks in the class are avid beaders and have bead collections. So, I think I'll just start with a question that everybody might relate to, and just tell us about like how long you've loved beads and what your collection started as and how it sort of became more than just your collection.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for inviting me on to do this. I appreciate it. So I started um, really when I was just a kid. I sort of grew up in a business of a family selling vintage clothing and antiques and vintage jewelry. And my mom would always buy all of this fabulous broken vintage jewelry. And it became like this, we ended up with boxes of all these things we couldn't sell because it would be something where like the necklace had come apart at the clasp or just remnants of, gorgeous beads. And so um we had decided that I was going to start repairing this jewelry, and I was around 10 at this time. And so we found a lady who knew how to do just basic stringing, knotting, and she gave me a couple of classes, and I started repairing this vintage jewelry. And then that really soon developed into me just getting creative and making my own things. And this was early 80s when, big earrings and big necklaces were all the thing. And so I was making and creating jewelry and we were selling it all over in San Francisco and LA. And uh yeah, so that's kind of where I got started with it. And so that's why my joy and my passion has always been with the vintage because that's my roots. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So, how did it like turn? How did you know repairing jewelry turn into making your own things, and then selling beads that inspire others to make things too?
Yeah. Well, I think, part of it was, some of these pieces out that I was repairing were sort of beyond repair where there wouldn't be enough to complete the piece. And so I'd be like, ooh, well, maybe if I put this with that and that with this, and then, one thing led to the other, and then inspiration just started happening. And the leap from making jewelry and selling jewelry to then selling beads really came when I found the sources in Germany of the vintage beads when I was finding literal tons of vintage glass beads that had never been sold and had never left Europe, and was boxing those up, creating those up, and having them shipped to the United States and started selling them. And there was just way too many beads that I could ever work with as one person. And so that's when I started selling to bead stores and other jewelry designers, and kind of let go of selling finished jewelry on my own, which is really fine by me. I love to create and make jewelry, but these days I only make it for samples, for inspiration, to give away, to wear. I really get a lot more joy out of selling my beads to other designers.
Yes, the way that I first knew about you was that I taught and loved the Beaten Path in Freeport, Heather. And
Yes.
that shop was really my home base for a long time when I first moved to Maine and got to know them. And they would get trays of your beads in, and everybody would go
Oh,
crazy because
wow. Yeah.
well, you have really a unique beads and good taste. And so it was like a curated collection of beads that we were looking at instead of like regular bead store stuff. So thanks for bringing like the unique to everyone.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it really, my beads are really just, they're the ones that all the designers in the 40s, 50s, and 60s used. And that's like that, Miriam Haskell and others like her. that's what these beads are, and that's why they're so unique. So
Yeah, I've learned a little bit Miriam Haskell-y things from Diane Fitzgerald. I took a class from her at Bead and Button on the Miriam Haskell jewelry, and I'm reteaching it to some of the like some parts of it to the folks in this workshop too. So they're going to
I just
be
saw her like a week ago.
Oh, she's such a lovely human. I adore her. And
Good.
one of the things about not having like the Beat and Button show and things like that is there's not like the one time a year kind of show for everybody to come to. But I know that you have shows that you host and promote. And will you tell us a little bit about like what that circuit looks like, where they are, and how that has come together?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started the whole bead show in 1994, and my first show was in Tucson. And I've done shows all over the country in the past 31 years now of doing that. But between the pandemic and other economic things, the shows, like the bigger shows, have really taken a downturn. There's not as many vendors out there, not as many unique vendors, and so a lot of factors have gone into the shows not being what they once were. And so for my soul, so I can still have that interaction where I'm out there, showing my beads to people in person. I've started doing, it started off as a 1 year project, but now it's been a year and I haven't completed it. So I'm definitely going to extend this. I'm calling it my epic whole bead road trip. And so I'm doing these smaller shows, these pop-ups and trunk shows, and I'm literally trying to get everywhere in the United States with them. And it's been great. I mean, for the most part, they've all been successful. I mean, it's a lot of work because it's a lot of days of driving, setting up, doing the show, packing up, driving to the next location, for it to work financially, I kind of have to do it quickly because it's so expensive to be on the road. Plus, I do need to get home every now and then, so I
Right,
can't be on the road constantly.
right.
But it's been great, and it's great to do that one-on-one, and where I get to see people pick out my beads in person. Online sales are fabulous, and I know it's what we all need to do these days. But I also really enjoy being able to show my beads to someone in person and see their reaction. And I'm missing that. And so that's why I started doing this. And I get to see people like Diane. Like I hadn't seen her in 20 years. And so that
Right.
was really great.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Will you talk a little bit too about like the breadth of the your collection? Like folks can look at it on your website, but I think it would be great to hear like you describe like what you carry and why you carry those things. I know like just from looking at like the headings and then looking through like the things in your collection, there's certainly like we can tell like your style and taste, but more like saying like the all the different kinds of materials because I know you have the vintage glass and that you have the vintage lucite and that there's some buttons and how do you like choose what's in your collection and talk a little bit like why the beads that you carry do you carry those ones?
Okay. So everything I carried, well, for years, everything I carried was all made in Germany, and that was sort of my thing. I stuck with beads coming from Germany because I felt like it was more unique, and there wasn't a lot of people doing it, and and I knew the quality of the beads. So, but then about 5 years ago, or I don't know, it's probably been more than that now. I added a line from Italy. And so I want to have beads made in Europe, first of all. That's my thing. I don't have anything from China, and that's important to me.
Yeah, it's
Um,
important to a lot of us. Yeah.
yeah. And so, just sticking with my original, with the vintage, my original love for the vintage costume jewelry from, the 40s, 50s, 60s. And so I carry the glass beads. I still have a nice collection of the vintage glass, partly because I boxed it all up and put it away for a while
Mhm.
and just kind of let it sit there and wait until I was ready to bring it back out. Um, so I carry the vintage German glass, and I have a whole line of vintage glass buttons as well. And then the German lucite and resin start off with just doing some vintage because I had found a place that had a lot of vintage, and then it took me a little bit to like branch out from glass into the resins and the lucite. Like I kind of had a block, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to go that direction. And then I went for it, and now I just love it. I mean, I love the shapes, and I love the fact that it is lightweight, and so you
Mhm.
could wear something like this all day long, and it's
Right.
not weighing down your your ears, and or even like the multi strands around the neck, and and like as I have gotten older, like wearing super heavy things isn't as comfortable for me. So that's another reason why I love the resin and the lucite. And so, like a lot of the things that, as you get into them, you start off with a little bit and then you really start to love that and you branch out. And so now with the German lucite and resin, I have not only the vintage stock, but I'm having a lot of things made for me.
Mhm.
Uh, I just did a whole line of really fun fruit charms, and the molds for these charms are 1960s molds, and then I had them make them new for me now. So that's really fun to get to do things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And then the Italian resin is a little bit different. It really reminds me of the old Bakelite and celluloid pieces because it has sort of that, it's a little bit heavier, even though it's still lightweight, but it has that kind of almost like a soft or oily, even though it's not oily, but it has like more of an oil base to it. And a lot of it's carved like the old celluloid.
Oh, okay.
Um, I don't know how well you can see through on here, but like
Oh,
this
yeah.
one, like these are carved and
Oh,
they make the canes kind of like glass canes where they do layers of the color and then the last layer is black and then they carve it out to reveal all the color.
very cool.
Yeah, and I'm all about color. Like I'm always like, give me a real color. I don't want like a muted color. I want the color to be a real color.
I get that too. So you
Yeah.
talked like a little bit about how the beads are made. So with the contemporary ones, I can see you're sort of like, you know the makers and are familiar with the process. And so when you say they're mo made in a mold, most of the folks in the class, I would say have like more of a glass mind. So they know about like flame working and they know a little bit about how check glass beads are made, that they're pressed.
Right.
And you've seen like some videos on that and things. But how different is it when you're working with the material like lucite or resin?
It's actually quite similar. The resin material is either in a cane form or in like
Oh,
these little beads without holes.
uh-huh.
And it's melted and they'll mix the different colors together that they want to use, and it's melted and it's inject mold, like they inject it into the mold and it's cut out. So it's actually quite similar to the glass. And then the carved pieces, they will carve them like sitting at just like with a grinder at a table, like holding the
Okay.
bead, grinding into them. And then some of the resin pieces are laser cut. So they'll have like sheets of the resin and then they'll laser cut the design out. Yeah, so it's actually quite similar to glass.
Yeah, it is. That I had no idea.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
So how much do you like travel to go to your sources and like what are like all the parts of your business? Like I know you have to like get the stuff and you're traveling around to also sell it. And so what does like a year in the life of Ava Motherwell look like as far as acquiring. And then I know that everything needs to be like stranded, and you have to think about like presentation, and like you probably have sort of a mobile operation now with the like, I know that, there's always the joke that the bead makers are the ones who carry their beads around in tube socks, and they get to the show and they shake them out of their sock and they put them on the table. But I know that when you have like a beautiful collection of beads, you've got a little bit different things, like just thinking about your how your year looks, but also like how you must be organized to have that much inventory, and to, I'm sure that certain venues you have a space to work with, and other ones you get to like a whole room probably. So
Sure.
so tell me like, what the travel part looks like, but also like how you manage your inventory.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so the traveling, going and sourcing, there some years I would go twice a year. For the longest time, I would make sure I would go at least once a year. Some of that has changed. I don't go quite as often now, partly because there isn't the old caches of vintage stock that I need to go there and physically um, pull and pack and ship. And so I can do some of my ordering, working directly with people and with, modern technology of being able to take pictures and video calls and all of that. It makes
Right.
it less necessary for me to go as often, but I still like to try to go and check in at least every couple of years. And there's always new things to find. And I feel like every time I do go on a buying trip, there'll be someone that'll be like, oh, there's this other person that has this thing you should go check out. And so those are the connections that you don't get just through email and texting and all of that. But so let's see, process of what when I get something new in, it has to be, I have to figure out the pricing of it. I have to do like the conversion from the dollar to the euro, and I have to figure out how much it costs for me to ship it. And of course, now we have tariffs that I have to figure out, which I never know if it's going up and up again and up again and up again, or what's happening. And
Right.
so, yeah, figure out my price, and then we have to photograph it and code it. And because all of my beads are inventoried, so everything is on my website with an inventory. And so when I'm at my shows, it's coming off the inventory. That way, people can be ordering from me at the same time, and hopefully, I haven't double sold something. So yeah, so that's kind of the process of getting the bead ready. And then, I have my stock that's in my warehouse, and then I have my show stock. Every now and then it all comes together, and I'm always like, okay, my stock is reunited. Really figure out what I have. And so I keep and I don't know if you want to see, because I am set up, so I could.
Oh my gosh, yes, we want to see.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I keep everything kind of separate by what it is, whether it's from Germany or from Italy, or if it's glass or resin or poly resin. And then I keep it by color within its different families.
Hmm.
And yeah, and so like doing this, the road trip takes a lot of planning, and just organizing and getting it all together and figuring out like, okay, uh, am I gonna be able to get from this place to this place in the next day, and where am I gonna stay? And
Right.
we're reaching out to other vendors to join me if they want to. And so, it's like a lot of businesses, the majority of what I do is more the mechanics and the logistics of everything.
Yeah.
There's less of the, oh, I'm just gonna sit and play and create and design. Which I think is one reason why I really love to sell to jewelry designers, and especially ones that I kind of have a connection to and I know what they like. And I'll even when I'm buying or ordering, I'll be like, oh, I know this person is gonna love this.
Right.
So then that also will help me where I can be like, okay, I can order, you know, 10,000 of this bead because I know this other designer is gonna at least need 1,000 of them.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So show us what you got. there.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna walk. Hopefully I won't get dizzy. I'm gonna walk in and then I'll have to turn my camera view around. See if I
Yeah.
can figure that out.
Oh, thank you so much. It's like we get to go to your little show.
Yeah, yeah. This is yeah, I'm in Dallas right now and it's this is um the last of the event of this particular leg of the trip. Let's see here. How do I turn this around? Okay. All right.
Oh.
Okay. So this table is um Italian and so you
Mm.
can see, I'll just kind of do a quick little overview and then I'll zoom in a little bit. So you can see I have them separated by color.
Mm-hmm.
And then within the trays, so this one is a vintage one.
Oh, those are gorgeous.
They're gorgeous. Yes, they have the
Yeah.
little polka dots. Um, I love all the layered.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So this is they make these canes with all of the color and then they cut the bead out.
Got it. Oh, yeah, yum.
Yeah.
Oh, it must be just fun to organize them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, those are great.
And again, it's like, you can have these big beads, but they're not too heavy.
Right.
But I have little beads too. Here's little 4 millimeters.
Mhm.
And then so these are carved.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a like a pottery process that's like that a little bit called sgraffito. Have you ever? It's like the same thing where you have like a glaze on top and you kind of cut through it. I love it and it reveals the underneath layers. Oh, look at the stars in there.
Yeah.
So pretty. Yum.
There's a little bit of music going in the background. I hope that's okay.
Yep, can't hear it at all.
Okay. Okay, good.
So nice. Ooh, I love that blue color. That
Yeah, it's
that
pretty.
undetermined color. I call it Egyptian blue, but I just love it. It's like
Yeah.
an in-between blue.
Yeah.
And like
This is my glitter beads, which I'm kind of obsessed with. And one of the things I love about it is the glitter is all on the inside. And so it's not going to come off and it's not rough.
right.
A
Yeah.
nice smooth finish.
Mm.
For the moon glow.
Oh, I love those too.
And so these are a lot of things that would be laser cut. And so these are pendants and charms and tags.
And are those contemporary?
Most of these are contemporary.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. I love the ones with two holes so you can make them into long earrings. Oh, and look at all that chain.
Yeah, resin chain.
Gorgeous.
So we're
Mhm.
still in, this is all Italian.
So nice.
Magnetic clasps, ear studs where you can dangle things from them.
Oh, very cool.
Um, Here's lucite flowers. This is probably some of the stuff you remember from Bead and Path, even though
Yeah.
their lucite flowers didn't come from me, but we
Hmm.
have some similar ones.
Yeah. So
Here's one of
pretty.
my pieces I made recently.
Oh, so cool. I love it. Oh, I'm glad
That's
you still get
active
to make stuff.
inspired.
That's fantastic.
Then we have, this is all German. This is what I call my inlay because it's got there's patterns that are pressed in there and then they do like a gold coating.
Hmm. Nice. That gets sort of like rubbed into it. It's so nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So this is my novelty table. Um,
Oh, yeah. I love your fish.
yeah, the fish are really, really the thing right now. It's like sardine girl summer.
Oh, those are fantastic too.
And then we have this is the fruit I was talking
Oh,
about. So I
yeah.
have
I love it. That's so great.
yeah,
Neat.
super
And I
fun.
love the idea of using vintage molds to for new beads. It's great.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Mm. Oh, the mushrooms. Those are
I
fantastic.
know the mushrooms are these are carved, like the little white dots are carved. Those are Italian.
Those are fantastic.
And then there's Buddhas and owls, and there's neon, which is really fun.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. That's great. Those are fun.
Let's see. So this would be vintage glass back here.
Mm, gorgeous. Oh. Yeah, we've been talking a lot about like how people organize their bead collections too. And I think definitely what has won folks over is the bicolor, but within a style. So
Yes.
you could do the
Yeah.
same thing too. I think it's just
Yeah.
easier on one's brain to like look at things that way too.
It is. It is. I know. I've every now and then when I get a new, I mean, the only thing I mix by color would be like the novelty things. But every now and then I think, oh, I should do some trays where it's all one shape, right? Because some people are shopping by shape. But when I do that, I personally I can't handle it. I
Yeah,
have to then go
I can't
go
handle
there.
it.
So this is all German here, lucite and resins. And then these trays are mixed between vintage and newly made.
Hmm.
I just mix them, but I do put on the labels what's vintage, so when people are shopping, they'll know. And I have it that way on my website too. It's all labeled which ones are vintage.
One of the other benefits too of like lucite over glass, not just the lightweightness, but I noticed like there's some colors that are just hard to make in glass, like the pinks and purples. And the lucite can come in all those colors that you can't make glass in. And it's so nice
That's
to
that's a good point. Yeah.
see those, sort of warm colors represented is so nice. Oh,
Yeah.
I love those
Yeah.
trays. So tell me, are the ones that are those are like fancier ones, the ones we were just
Oh,
on?
these are my lampwork beads,
Oh yeah, I
which
see now that we're up close,
yeah,
the foil
these
in
I
there.
had made for me. These were all beads that I had designed and had made for me, starting from like 1992 up until around 2010. And
Hmm.
then there wasn't anyone left that could still make them
Right. I've
up to
heard
my
that.
standards. So when these are gone, they'll be gone. But I still have some.
Yeah. You're nice
Yeah.
to part with them.
Yeah. Well, that's why I always tell people when it's like you find beads that you love, you got to buy them because you never know when you won't be able to again.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
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 Thanks for the little tour too.
Oh,
It's
sure.
super nice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you get back to where you were sitting too, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
And
Okay.
um,
All right. I'm ready. Go
okay.
for it.
So just for fun, and because a lot of our class is about like fostering your artistic style or your voice, you are known, I don't know if you know this, but for having great personal style. It's always like, oh, Ava's amazing dress. And I'm just looking at what you're wearing right now with that chartreuse green and the coral colors together. You obviously like love getting dressed. And like, how do you think one develops that? I know some of it is just innate and in there, but I think you also like sort of can foster that part of you. And I don't know whether for me, I think it had a lot to do with like the home that I grew up in and having a mom that also loved jewelry and clothes and all of those things. But I also think like you also have a conversation with yourself about that fosters it. And I'm just wondering for you, what do you think like, makes you excited about design and getting dressed and picking things out and like how that translates into what one makes?
Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking about that question because I knew you wanted to ask me that, and I didn't really come up with a great answer. I think for me, I don't know. I mean, uh, I love compliments. A little bit vain, but so I know that sometimes I wear what I wear because it gets a reaction, and usually positive, and that makes me feel good about myself and about my day, and it helps me like go on and do the next thing I'm going to do.
Which is
And so I
really important in this day and age. Can I just say, like,
yeah,
those sorts of things that make you get up and do stuff are important for sure.
yeah, yeah. And that doesn't mean that, if someone's just wearing jeans and a white t-shirt, that that's what they want to do and that's fine. It's all relevant and it's all good. But as far as I think developing your own style, I think it's really important to feel comfortable in whatever you're wearing. Both like actually physically feel comfortable in it, but like emotionally feel comfortable in it. And you don't want to wear, if you don't want attention, you obviously don't want to wear something that's going to draw that to you. But and my own sense of style, I don't know. I mean, I started coming of age like around a lot of women who are much older than me. And so I think that probably gave me a little bit more confidence.
Hmm.
And I see that a little bit in my daughter too, because she's always worn much more muted colors and more like delicate jewelry, but now she's starting to like branch out and wear things a little bit more bold. And so that's really fun to see her do that. And it seems organically like she's just doing it on her own. And so I don't know if it can be forced. I think it just has to be, you just have to kind of like find it. But I
Yeah,
think it's okay, like try stuff out too. And if that doesn't work, if you don't feel good in it, then like just don't do it again.
right. Yeah, no, trying stuff out is what it's all about, right?
Yeah, I know one of my things, especially if I'm going to an event or, maybe like a wedding or something where I don't know very many people, like I will make sure I wear some like statement piece of jewelry because it kind of like all of a sudden people are talking to you and asking like, "Whoa, who's this person and where did they get that great necklace?" And I don't know, that to me is like it helps for me to do things like that out in the public because
Ab-
it's less about you and it's more about what you're wearing.
Right. There's obviously something to talk about, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So.
absolutely. Okay,
Yeah.
that was a great answer. I don't know what you were thinking. So, is there anything else that like we didn't cover or that you want to add? Or oh, I do want folks to know how to find you on your tour.
Okay, so my show schedules will be on my website, wholebead.com.
Okay.
And so the pop-ups and the bigger shows are going to be on the homepage. The trunk shows and some of the smaller events is kind of a little bit it's like my secret menu. You have to go to the road trip link and it'll give you everything that I'm doing. But that's wholebead.com.
Okay. Bead.com. Excellent.
Yeah, and I'm constantly adding things on there. So um, it's good to check again. And people can also sign up for my mailing list too through there if they want to just get emails and see what we're doing.
They'll want to, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Especially after the tour of what you have there. Amazing. Anything else that you want to add?
Um, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I just yeah, I know you said it's hard because things like bead and button aren't there anymore. And I guess my only thing would be to maybe what I'd like to say to the bead community is to be less sorrowful for what we don't have and be grateful what we still do have and the people that are still out there doing things and to try to be positively supportive. And
Absolutely.
I think those of us that are out here still doing it don't need to hear, oh, it was so good once upon a time. Because it's,
Right.
for me and for a lot of us, it still is really good and it still is what we love and it's what pays our mortgage and keeps us
Right.
going. And and we need positivity to keep doing it, and I think
Absolutely.
that,
Absolutely. I actually find it to me it's very lovely to experience like if I was going to go see you or go to like a smaller venue or to a class where it's just that one class that I get much more immersed and get a lot more out of it than be
yeah,
like a room full of overstimulation and all those things. Like you can just focus in on what you're there to do too. And I totally agree with you about the positivity too. And
yeah,
um,
yes.
I
Yeah.
also knew that was part of your of you. So
Aw.
I'm glad I asked you if there's anything more because like that part is a really important part of Ava that you are out there spreading the love.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And not everyone, when they're talking about like, oh, the last time I was at this show, it had 10 times the vendors, or not everyone is meaning to come off negative. Some people, it's just the way. So I don't want to, I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying, let's try to be more positive and look to what the good that's still there. And because there's still so many great people designing with beads, making beads, importing beads, there's so much out there. People just let go of what once was and see what is here now.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is. It's a fantastic community. And thank you so much for being such a wonderful force for good and for beauty and for inspiration for all the designers. And, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. And good luck at the rest of your show and the rest of your adventure. And I really appreciate you taking the time to
Absolutely.
speak with us. Is fantastic.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you got it. I'll talk to you on email.
Okay, sounds
Okay,
good.
thanks.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.